to the November President's Council call meeting. My name is Yash, Desai. I'm your Northern California Vice President. Chris, he is here somewhere. Yeah, Chris, you want to introduce yourself again?
Sorry, I'm Christopher Carlsen. I'm your Southern California Vice President.
So today's call isn't going to be exactly like other calls have been. Today we actually have, I'm really excited, we have a guest speaker today. So how many of you guys would consider yourselves good with your DECA history? More or less? Yeah, so basically today we have Priya Saha here today to speak for us a little bit. For those of you who don't know who she is, she's the Northern California Vice President from Team 61, currently a student at Northwestern University. And yeah, so we're going to just start. Priya, you want to just introduce yourself a bit and go ahead and give your presentation?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Priya. As Yash said, I was the Vice President of Northern California for Team 61. So that was from 2010 to 2011. I was my sophomore and junior year of high school. I'm originally from the Bay Area. I went to Amador Valley High School in Pleasanton. I'm now a senior at Northwestern University, which is in Evanston, Illinois. It's close to Chicago. And I am an economics and psychology double major and global health minor. And I've definitely pursued a lot of kind of business internships and experiences in college, and DECA definitely influenced that a lot. So for those of you that are interested in careers in business, definitely very happy to talk about that if you guys have questions.
Okay, so we'll start with a few questions, and then we'll open it up to the presidents if that works. So, Chris, do you want to go ahead and ask the first question?
Yep. So the first question is, how has DECA helped you in your journey through college?
Yeah, so I think I talked a lot about this, but I think, well, DECA was the first thing that exposed me to the world of business and like the different opportunities that there are in business. And so it helped me in college in that it kind of clarified for me that this was the field that I wanted to pursue. And so in college, I've chosen to get involved in a lot of similar business opportunities. So at Northwestern, we have a club called ISB, which is the Institute for Student Business Education, which is basically the largest undergraduate business club at Northwestern. And so I got involved with that my freshman year, and I'm now currently serving as vice president. It's a really cool organization. There's 300 members, and there's 10 different groups that each focus on a different area of business. So in a way, it can be similar to DECA, because in DECA, there's so many different events and like types of cool things that you can get involved with, whether it be in like sports and marketing or ad campaign or whatever. So it influenced me in that way. I'm also part of a consulting club. So yeah, it definitely inspired me to kind of take advantage of these opportunities. And I've also chosen to do some business internships. So I interned at Merrill Lynch after my freshman year as a wealth management intern. And then I interned at a company called Parthenon last summer for consulting. And that's also what I'm going to be returning to full-time after graduation. So overall, like, it just inspired me to explore different opportunities in business and like just kind of see what's out there. And I'm glad I kind of was able to discover that passion in high school.
Okay, so my question for you is, considering that you are into management and you're pursuing an econ and psych double major, professionally, what is your ideal job after graduating?
Yeah, so I think I talked a little bit about that, but I'm going to be going into the field of consulting. For those of you that don't know what that is, I definitely didn't know my freshman and sophomore year. But basically, consulting is a field where different companies hire consultants to kind of solve their most challenging problems. So if a company is losing profits or wants to launch a new product, et cetera, they'll hire consultants to kind of work on these problems and solve it, help them kind of figure out the solution. So that's the field I'm going to be going into, and I interned in it this past summer as well. And yeah, I think consulting is a really cool field because you get exposure to a lot of different types of projects and industries really early on versus other companies or positions you might be kind of just doing one type of project or in one industry, but in consulting your projects can vary and like you can work on a bunch of different industries and a bunch of different problems, so it just gives you really broad exposure. So that's why I chose to go into that field. Then there's so many other fields in business that are also a lot of people choose to go into, like marketing, business development, finance, etc. So there are a lot of really cool options.
So my question for you is, what is the most valuable thing that you have learned from the time you stepped into office to now?
Yeah. So I think when I was in office, the most valuable thing I learned was it kind of like stemmed from how diverse our state is and all the chapters were, because I think, most of your chapter presidents, so as chapter presidents, you kind of have a perspective on your school and your chapter and the strengths and weaknesses and your goals. But as state officer, you kind of can look across all the chapters and see across the state how different each chapter is. And I think that kind of really pushed me out of my comfort zone, because I realized, it's hard if there's so many different chapters that each have their own challenges and goals. It's hard to focus on all of them. So learning like kind of how to work with my team to prioritize like the most pressing things and our top goals that we wanted to help each chapter accomplish. So I think like just learning how to have really big objectives and narrowing it down and prioritizing was something I learned. Yeah, and then also, of course, just leadership skills. Whether you're leading a chapter or leading the state, it's definitely can be challenging to be a leader, but you also grow a lot by learning how to lead teams and, help your chapters work together to kind of achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So definitely a lot of leadership skills as well.
So from the time you were in office to now, obviously a lot of things have changed. You had around 3,000 members, and last year we were approaching over 5,000 members. So we have a very big clientele now. So another question is, what is the biggest piece of advice you could give to all of our current DECA members?
Yeah, well, it's a pretty big question. But so I think DECA is great in that there are so many different types of events. So the biggest piece of advice I would give is explore as many events as you can explore. And, do as many events in as many different fields, because I think by doing that, you can have a chance to see like what you really do like doing and don't like doing. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice is just like explore as much as you can and get involved as much as you can. And also like I think it's always good to take on leadership roles in your chapter, like even within the state. So I would also encourage students to do that.
Awesome. So actually, at this point in time, I want to open up the president's task questions, and if they don't have any questions, and I'll ask some more because I'm kind of excited to ask. So, presidents, if you guys have any questions at all, please go ahead and ask. And if you guys don't want to speak in your mic, then you guys can also message on chat as usual. Anybody at all?
Happy to answer any questions, so feel free.
And you guys can message as well if you don't want to speak into your mic. Okay, in which case I'm gonna ask more questions because I'm kind of getting into this. So another question is, given you were in office 5 years ago, so if you were to go back and change one thing about your term, whether it's something you did or whether it was just how your term went, what would it be?
Yeah, I think the one thing I would maybe not change, but have tried to do more of is have done more chapter visits, because I definitely did a few, and I always thought it was so cool to be able to go and just see how different chapters ran and like what they were kind of working towards. But it was also hard since those chapters have meetings like during the school day and like they're often far away, so it was like hard to kind of find time. So just do more chapter visits or just like find ways to get involved with like other events the chapters were hosting. I know you mentioned like you'd been to a few banquets and stuff, so I think it's awesome that you guys are doing that.
I have another question. So how did the competitive events part of DECA help you with college and also life?
Yeah. So I think that it really helped a lot in terms of just building professionalism. And, you know, for job interviews, it definitely kind of mimics in a lot of ways a lot of the job interviews I have done. And I think, you know, going through these events, I didn't realize like how many skills I was actually gaining that were so relevant and tangible to life. So that was definitely, sorry, there's like background noise, I'll pause.
So like me, and Andy.
Yeah, so that was definitely, I think, one of the biggest things that was super helpful is just building those skills in high school when most people like haven't had the opportunity to do that until college. So I think it definitely put me in a leg up there. And then the second thing, as I mentioned, is kind of like the chance to explore a lot of different areas, like some that I liked and some that I didn't like. So I think like I remember one of my years I competed in a more finance related event and realized that like I didn't like that. So it kind of helped clarify like, okay, maybe I don't want to pursue more finance things later on and want to try something else. So.
Okay, and based on your experience with both the interview situation and being through jobs and stuff like that, what do you think would, and you know, with your term, what would you define as a really good leader?
Yeah, I think one thing I think is really important is like very open communication between the person, like the leader and the teams that they're leading, and just kind of understanding, like as a group, what your goals are and like what people think the challenges will be. So just like I think maintaining open communication is really important, instead of kind of like closing that off. I think the second thing is to kind of always like make sure you're being very collaborative with your group and working together and understanding the specific strengths and weaknesses of each member of your group, as well as getting to know everyone on a personal level. And I think just like by kind of fostering a community where people like know each other and are friends, and kind of like know how everyone else works, that fosters like the most effective team. So I remember like when I was a state officer, we were all like really good friends and would have like social events together. And even like in my clubs that I'm in now, like for the club I'm the vice president of, like I like consider a lot of people in the club to be my friends and know them on a personal level as well. And I think like having those bonds also helps us work together really effectively as a team in a more professional setting.
Definitely. So we have a question from Kimberly, and she wanted to ask what your biggest challenge was, both as a state officer and in college.
These are really broad questions, but I'll do my best to answer. So biggest challenge as a state officer. Let me think about that one. I think a big challenge, I kind of like to touch on my last point is like, I always as a leader want to get to know everyone that was kind of like in the group or in the team that I'm working with. And when you're a state officer, like it's really hard to do that because there's like so many, like thousands of people. So I think I like sometimes felt more of a disconnect, and like even though I try to do chapter visits and get to know people one-on-one, and like it's still not possible to kind of get to know everyone. So I think that was one thing that I found challenging and kind of always wanted to find ways to do better. And like I think calls like this, where even if like all the presidents are getting together, is a really good way of kind of maintaining that and like getting to know each other. Biggest challenge in college. I think, I mean, figuring out a career is always a challenge, you know, whether you do or don't want to go into business. Like I kind of at least knew I wanted to go into the field of business, but that's still so broad of a field. I think just like having a lot of opportunities and trying out different internships or clubs or whatever helped me to figure out what I did and didn't like. And I think that's also a piece of advice I have, like when you guys do enter college, is to get involved in as many things as you can, business or not business related, that you think you might be interested in pursuing in the future, because those experiences can help you determine if you would actually like a career in that field or not.
Definitely. Kimberly, thanks for the question. Presidents, do you guys have any other questions at all? And if you want to even privately message me, then please do so. Nobody? Smith, were you going to ask something? No? Okay. In which case, Chris, do you have any other questions?
I do not.
Okay. In which case, Priya, thank you for coming. If you wanna stick around and maybe people will ask questions at the end, we can do that.
Sure.
And
if you want, I can also like provide my email or contact info. If you guys want to like reach out later, I'm always happy to be a resource for anything DECA related or like anything else. So I can like message you my email later and you can send that out if you want.
Yeah, definitely. If you could add it to the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so from here we'll proceed to our regular President's Council agenda. So we'll start out with Chris talking about DECA month.
Okay. So as you all know, that November is DECA month. And just give me a second because I have something to share with you. Can everyone see this? I think you can. Yes, it is DECA month in November. And part of DECA month is the DECA month photo challenge. And during the DECA month photo challenge, people will be able to post photos about everything DECA related. And there's a daily theme for each day of the month. And you might be asking, how do I know what the daily theme is? Well, on this article that is on DECA Direct, and I will share this in the chat with you. They have a photo of all the different daily themes for the month. So it goes from 1 to 30, and each day you're supposed to, if you want, post a picture on either Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and use hashtag DECA month and hashtag own your future, and tag at DECA Inc. and also tag California DECA to show which state you represent, because everyone across the country is doing it. DECA month is a great way to get your chapter members engaged, because November can be a bit of a month where you're close to district and you just got past recruiting. So this is really a good time to get members engaged and get fired up for the district conference in January. It's also a great way to serve as membership recruitment for the next year. And because people be like, oh, what's DECA month all about? And people are like, oh, okay. And for the next year and the current year, based on the membership deadline. And I've been seeing a lot of people on Instagram from our own state doing the photo challenge, which I'm very proud of everyone doing that in California DECA. And if members would like to read this article, it's on DECA Direct, and it provides a lot of information about the photo challenge. And the next topic we have is the membership campaigns.
Okay, so I think most of you are familiar with what these campaigns are. So this is just kind of an update on being sure to submit by your deadline. The deadline is December 1st, and you want to basically make sure everybody knows you have a very high increase, because hopefully that's a goal we've reached. I think Chris went over the last time, but Chris actually had a graphic to show you guys so that you guys kind of understand how it works. But be sure for it to be valid that you submit everything by December 1st. So you want to show them the graphic real quick so that it makes more sense?
I have it right here. 1 second. I don't see it right now, but I'll bring it up really quickly. But it's a graphic about all the chapter campaign deadlines and all the deadlines for.
Here, I got it.
Okay. Oh, I have it right here.
Oh, okay. Well, that works.
Can everyone see? Okay, this is for the membership. The membership deadline is obviously December 1st, along with all of these other chapter campaigns. The only one that's not due December 1st is the advocacy campaign, which is due on March 1st in 2017. And membership, for the membership campaign, you can earn the achievement level by getting one of these three goals: 29 members, 20 professional members, or 20 more students from the previous year. Or you can even earn spots for ICDC if you get 2 of these 3 categories, which is really cool. And then along with all the chapter campaigns, Global Entrepreneurship Week campaign, promotional campaign, community service campaign, all due December 1st. And the guidelines for that can be found on DECA.org under the competitive events section. And this basically goes over how you can, how to submit your campaign and what the requirements are.
I had a question. So I was just wondering, is there any benefit to submitting them all at the same time, or to like submitting them earlier? For example, if we finish Global Entrepreneur this week, but then community service later on, should we submit them all together, or can we submit them as we are like finish them?
Well, they're all due, for those 3 besides the advocacy, they're all any bias if you submit early or submit later, because they all review them at a later date.
Okay, and I also just wanted to make sure that for each of the different campaigns, like some of them, 2 of them have alumni stories, so those are supposed to be separate, right? Like I think one of them is like 2 campaigns have alumni success stories.
Yes, for Global Entrepreneurship Week and promotional, they both have alumni success stories.
So we would need 6 overall because it's 3 each.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
The next topic we have is the online press kit.
Okay, so like we mentioned last time, with the social media kits, we are planning on releasing online press kits for, we're going to unlock, sorry, I'm mixed up. Sorry, we're going to be releasing press kits for the chapters for them to be able to make their own press releases in addition to social media posts, so that we all have unified press releases based on DECA under one theme for California. So, for example, we've already had schools who like to release news articles and such, both for school papers and online. And so now we'll be able to do so with more chapters being involved. And on top of that, you guys will have one common theme, and people should be able to know, hey, that's DECA content. So that should be rolling out pretty soon. Your Vice President of Communications and VP of Public Relations, Joel and Lenexa, have been working pretty hard on that. So you guys should be seeing that pretty soon in addition to the social media kits.
If no one has any questions for that, obviously you can post them in the chat. But we're going to move on to our next topic, which is the competitive events changes. And I have another screen I would like to share. Okay, so the competitive events changes for 2016 to the 2017 DECA year. Some of them have, like from year to year, some things do change. You can read all about it in this DECA Direct article that I will link to the link in the chat. But it talks about how the principles of business administration events, their performance element will change from an interview format to a business situation. It talks about how they're going to, for the principles of business administration's events, they will include more performance indicators and evaluation skills that are similar to team decision-making events. And this also goes for the personal financial literacy event. Another one that they have, which actually kind of affected me directly, was that they changed they used to have an individual event called Marketing Management Series, and that's now becoming a Marketing Management Team Decision-Making event. And the Marketing Communications Team Decision-Making event will become the Marketing Communications Individual Series. They talk about why they changed it, just for the specific pathways that they talk about in the performance indicator guide. The franchise business plan can now comprise of 1 to 3 members. Business growth plan requires that all of the 1 to 3 members be owners on the official documentation of ownership. So like certain like changes, some are big, like the marketing communications, and some are just a little bit more detail oriented, like business growth plan, for example. And they previously said, I remember last year they were talking about how they're going to add entrepreneurship series events to this year, but that is going to be delayed until the 2017-2018 school year, so they can provide more sample materials online and just more development for the series events. And as I said before, you can check this out online once I post this in the chat. But I just know a big one was the marketing communications, which surprisingly affected me, and it might affect you too.
Okay, so the next topic of discussion, if there aren't any questions, there is going to be the pin design contest. So you guys remember California's pins at ICDC this year?
If you went to ICDC.
If you went to ICDC, and if you have been in the past. So this year, what we're actually going to do is we're going to open up to the members to design the pin for this year. And the winner will be getting recognized on stage at States and getting some more recognition. And in addition, they'll get more pins to trade when they're actually at ICDC. Or if they don't qualify, then they get to just keep those pins. So we're actually finally opening this up to members. And we're hoping that you can get all of your submissions in by December. And then we will announce the winner at the state conference. Chris, anything to add?
I don't believe so. I think you covered it all.
Okay, so more info on that can be provided if you guys have questions. And so the next topic that I'll be talking about is running for state office. So we had, for those of you guys who don't already know, we had a video meeting last week for members who potentially want to run. And so we gave them the breakdown of the changes this year, and I can give a brief summary of that and the procedures that one would have to go through to run for office. And so we'll start out with the major changes. For those of you guys who know how Silicon Valley works, for Silicon Valley DECA, normally they appoint their district VP at their district career development conference, and that's going to apply for both NorCal and SoCal as well this year. So if you're running for NorCal VP or SoCal VP, you're going to be elected at the district conference as opposed to the state conference. The knowledge test will now be online, and you can take it as many times as you want, as long as it's proctored by your advisor. Otherwise, the same the same rules apply. 2-minute campaign speech at the district conference. You have to run a campaign booth and also schedule an interview with a board member or DECA representative. And it's just one interview this time. It's not one interview at the district conference and then a group at state. Instead, it's just one interview at your district conference. The winner of those elections for both NorCal and SoCal, and then SV, it's been like that. But winners of those would be named the district VP-elect and won't assume office until the conclusion of the state career development conference. And at the state conference, they still have to go through the regular campaigning process. So instead of having a campaign booth, there will be more of an informational booth to talk about their platform. They'll still have to go and meet the members and participate in all of the standard campaign activities at the state conference as well. For the appointed positions like VP of Communications and VP of Public Relations, it's the same as it was last year. They'll be required to submit a portfolio, go and have an interview with the representative at the state conference, and will be appointed into office based on that. The president's also pretty unchanged. It's everything's done at the state conference, but the district VPs, that was a major change. And that being said, if you guys are thinking of running potential candidates, then it's about time that you guys get two, because 2 is your maximum, 2 potential candidates ready so that you know who it is and they start taking their knowledge test, because the deadline is the first week of December to get your knowledge tests done and your interviews scheduled for the conference if you're running for district. But yeah, so if you, basic idea, if you are thinking of running candidates, then have them ready as soon as possible, because it's getting very close, and we're actually looking forward to seeing how things turn out. So yeah, a lot of changes, or a lot of things I just said, but there's your basic major change. And if there are any questions on that topic, then please do let me know. But that's the overall spiel on that. If you guys have any candidates or any questions, then please do let us know as well. We've already gotten questions on the process and stuff like that. We'd be happy to help you out. And I think that's pretty much it for that topic. After that, we were just going to talk about the best practices as we normally do. And this month is going to be the DECA month activities. So Chris, do you want to get us started there?
Yes. And before that, I know Yash talked a lot about the run for state office, and it was a lot of information. If you couldn't all take it in, everything is all detailed, all written in the state officer candidate packet that you can find online at californiadeca.org/candidate. And now we're going to talk about best practices for DECA month activities. And I have another screen to share with you guys. Let me know if you guys like this sort of format where I'm getting some of the stuff from DECA Direct that people produce and sharing it with you guys. I'm looking, and once oh, okay, found it. Nope, it's not this. My bad. It's another one. Right now it's not working for me. I don't know why, but I'll just read you what I have listed. So during DECA month, a lot of people have special activities that they like to do with their chapter for getting together and bonding. So some suggestions are having a movie night with your chapter, that either you can actually all go out to the movies together and sort of plan like a chapter activity, or go to a set location, maybe at somebody's house. But it's a great way just to bond as a chapter without actually having to like remembering about all like all of the things that you need to complete for November. It's a great way to take a break from the DECA month activities and kind of relax. Another thing that I really like is having a game day. You could do this at a chapter meeting. That'd be cool. Maybe at the end when everything calms down, or having just a set game day where you can play board games, card games, or even electronics games if you bring those with you. And people can bring treats, snacks, beverages, and just have a good time. I know one thing that MLK DECA actually does is that they have ice cream socials. I've heard about those. I think those are really cool, and they're a great way to get the chapter involved and make sure everyone gets to know each other, from the freshmen all the way up to the seniors. One thing they mentioned in this article is about tailgating. This person, people could do that. It's a different. I haven't heard about those before, but it's a great way. It's a different thing, and especially with football season, people can do those. And Yash, would you like to explain what you guys do at your high school?
So at American, what we're doing is we actually have a DECA week, and basically, Sachin, I know you're here. Do you want to actually talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, during DECA week, essentially what we have is, in order to sort of increase chapter camaraderie as well as just like school outreach, what we do is that we have designated sort of dress up days for a week. So today was wear your favorite conference's t-shirt. So yeah, so I'm wearing my ICDC shirt. And then for the rest of the week we have dress up days like come like decked out in DECA pins, and then twin with your partner. So stuff like that, just to sort of increase chapter camaraderie.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't picked up, that's the chapter president for my chapter. So yeah, things like that. Basically anything to get your members super involved and in touch. And Chris just sent a link. Okay, so feel free to check that out.
Does anyone want to share what their chapter does during DECA month, or how they like to bond with each other and have special activities? Anyone? It's okay.
You guys aren't very talkative today.
Moksh.
Yeah.
What does your chapter do for DECA month?
So one cool thing we're actually doing this week is we're having a DECA fundraising week. So every single day of the week, we have a fundraiser at a different location. I think it's really awesome. It's a great way. This week is the week before Thanksgiving break. A lot of minimum days at my school. So it's a great way. A lot of people go out for lunch right after school ends. So it's perfect. Today we went to a milk tea location. Yesterday it was a pizza place. Tomorrow it's an ice cream place. So it's kind of varies it every single day of the week. And I think it's a great way to get members to know one another better, and also be able to cut down costs for conferences. So that's something that I think that my chapter does a really good job of.
Nice. If anyone has any questions about the previous topics or want to share about DECA month, this is kind of your time. Oh, someone mentioned in the chat that they can.
Yeah. So I'm from Amador, and we also do a DECA week, just like American does. So like we have something every day. Monday is our community service day. So this year we wrote letters to soldiers and veterans, and then that was for community service. And then Tuesday we do T-shirt Tuesday, so people wear T-shirts. And then Wednesday we bring in donuts, so everyone who can recite the DECA logo or the slogan by memory gets a donut. And then Thursday we have test question Thursday. So if you come into the DECA room, you answer a test question, then you get a Smartie. And then Friday, I think it's ask me about DECA Friday. So we'll have name tags, and then it'll say ask me about DECA. and then you wear that throughout the day so people can like understand what DECA is.
Wow, it's pretty comprehensive. I like it.
Yeah.
If anyone else wants to share, I don't want to put anyone on the spot if they're not comfortable, but really, feel free. If no one else wants, oh, sorry.
During our DECA week, we had a diamond day where one of our officers designed diamonds for each member to hold, and she glued it on a stick, so each person would hold it around to their different classes, and then people would see it around school and they would ask what it was. So it's kind of just promoting DECA throughout the school.
Nice. If that's all that everyone has, thank you for coming to, oh wait, sorry, no. One last thing, and this is probably the most important thing of the entire meeting. If you go to the state conference, they have chapters' names on the state conference pamphlet, and also has the chapter president next to that chapter's name. And in order for that to happen, the chapter presidents need to actually submit their information. And I'm just going to post this in the chat. So if you go to the link that I just sent right now, I'll take you to a page where you put in your first name, last name, and it walks you through everything about what chapter you represent. And once you submit your information, then that will go into putting your chapter name and the president's name on the pamphlet for the state conference. Very important, because I know you guys have worked hard this entire year and you deserve some recognition, and this is a great way to get your recognition at the state conference.
Okay, so are there any questions at all for anything we've talked about so far? Or, the entire meeting?
For the President's Council page, if there's a co-presidency, do we submit the form twice?
They would fill it out separately.
Separately, yeah. You'd have one name and then submit again with the same chapter and the other president's name.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else for any topic? Okay, in which case, same drill as usual. If you guys have any other questions that you did not get to ask, then please feel free to message any of us, and we will be happy to answer your questions. At this point in time, if you guys don't have anything else, then I'll officially call this meeting to an end. Same drill as usual. If you guys want to hang out like we normally do, please do so. Priya's still here if you want to ask her any questions. And otherwise, this is your NorCal VP signing off. I will see you next month.
Goodbye.